There are some moments in life when everything feels too strange to be random. Coincidences stack like dominoes, emotions deepen without clear reason, and your soul starts stirring, like it knows something your mind hasn't yet realized. If you've been feeling like you're shifting in ways no one around you can understand, this message is exactly what your spirit asked for. If this resonates with you even slightly, I invite you, gently and with love, to share your experience in the comments. Let's create a circle of wisdom, of stories that help others feel seen. You can also share this message with someone who might need to hear it today. And if you feel led to support this mission, your donation link is in the comments. Every bit helps keep this light glowing. Thank you, truly. Welcome. You were not born by chance, and you are not enduring all that you have just to survive. No, the pain you've carried, the pressure you've endured, and the isolation you felt have all been parts of a sacred preparation. Because when God marks someone, it doesn't come with loud announcements. It comes in silence. It comes in discomfort. It comes in divine delay. You've been marked, but not for fame or comfort. You've been marked for transformation. You've been marked to be the one who shifts the very atmosphere when you walk in the room. There's something inside of you that others have tried to mimic, steal, or silence, and yet it persists. They may not know what it is, but they feel it. That quiet intensity, that unexplainable peace when others are crumbling. That deep insight that allows you to read a room, a heart, a season. You see, God doesn't mark people randomly. He marks them intentionally, because He places His purpose within their spirit before the world even recognizes their name. And here's the sacred truth no one talks about. When God marks you, He hides you. He pulls you back. He lets doors shut. He allows rejection to sting. Not because you are forgotten, but because you are too valuable to be wasted in premature exposure. What you carry is weighty. What you're meant to do is costly. So your preparation has been private, but your purpose will be undeniable. Sometimes, the loneliness wasn't because you were unworthy of love, but because God had to keep certain people out of your energy field. He knew they'd dilute your power, distract your vision, or drag you into cycles you were born to break. So yes, He isolated you, but not to punish you, to protect the mark, to grow the seed without noise. You weren't meant to blend in. You were born to shift things, to usher light into dark places. That's why you feel so deeply. That's why you sense things before they happen. That's why you've always been the different one. Others chase validation. But you crave alignment. You're not driven by applause. You're driven by truth. That is the sign of someone marked by God. And hear this, when the marked one awakens to who they are, they become unstoppable. Because when the anointing aligns with awareness, you stop trying to fit into places that shrink your power. You start moving with purpose, not panic. You begin to realize, I didn't lose anything. I was being cleared. I didn't get delayed. I was being developed. If you've been wondering why life hasn't felt normal, this is why. You were never meant for normal. You were meant for divine. That tension you felt lately isn't resistance. It's spiritual friction. Heaven is rubbing against your comfort zone. God is stretching your capacity so your purpose has room to manifest. And there's something else. You've outgrown the version of you that kept people comfortable. That version stayed quiet, played small, waited to be picked. But the marked version? Oh, they're rising. They don't wait to be chosen. They walk like they've already been crowned. Yes, this may be the season where you feel invisible. But invisibility is not insignificance. Invisibility is preparation. God hides what He wants to protect. And when it's time, no man, no lie, No delay can stop the emergence of what He's placed within you. You are not random. You are not forgotten. You are not weak. You are marked. And the evidence is all around you, if you dare to see it. When God marks someone, their entire life becomes sacred territory. Every delay, every rejection, every loss, none of it is wasted. You might have thought that the pain was a punishment, but chosen one, it was a positioning. Because those who are marked by God must walk differently. You weren't allowed to settle. You weren't allowed to lose yourself in certain relationships. You weren't even allowed to succeed too soon. Why? Because premature success could have pulled you into a version of life far beneath what you were destined to become. Some of your biggest setbacks were actually spiritual protection. Yes, you heard that right. God allowed some things to fail not because you weren't good enough, but because you were too chosen to be confined in the wrong place. When you carry divine assignments, your path cannot mirror the world's expectations. You were never meant to follow the blueprint. You are the blueprint. And that's why so many people haven't understood you. That's why even those close to you couldn't read your heart. Because your instruction manual wasn't written by culture or opinion. It was downloaded from heaven. And unless someone is tuned into the same frequency, they simply can't grasp the depth of your becoming. But guess what? That misunderstanding was necessary. Because when you're marked, clarity begins with confusion. Breakthrough begins with breakdown. You had to unlearn who they told you to be, just to become who God always intended you to be. That process, raw, messy, sacred, is where your real strength was forged. You didn't lose yourself. You uncovered your soul. And maybe lately, you've been wondering, what do I do with all this pressure building inside me? You feel something shifting, but the path isn't fully visible yet. That's confirmation, not confusion. That's spiritual traction pulling you into alignment. God is speaking in the silence, whispering truths that will change the trajectory of your life. If you lean in and listen, this is the moment when many turn back. But not you. Because you're not being buried, you're being planted. And when a seed is planted, it disappears for a while. It's surrounded by darkness, pressure, and silence. But beneath the soil, transformation is taking place. That's where you are now. Don't mistake this quiet season as stagnation. No, this is sacred soil. God is doing a deep work inside of you that no one can see yet. But when you rise, you will not just rise for yourself. You'll rise for generations. You'll rise as proof that God's favor outweighs man's rejection. You'll rise as a light in places others gave up on. Your very life will become a prophetic message, evidence that even the most hidden ones, the most misunderstood, the most broken, can become vessels of divine power. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the answer someone else has been praying for. Your healing will heal others. Your breakthrough will become a map for the lost. Your obedience will shatter generational curses. Because when God marks someone, He doesn't just mark them for blessing. He marks them for impact. That's why you couldn't stay where you were. That's why your old circles started falling away. That's why your spirit couldn't tolerate the same old conversations, habits, environments. You're not crazy. You're ascending. The world is loud right now. Chaos, fear, noise. But the marked ones? We are being called higher. We're being reminded that the answers aren't outside of us. They were planted within us all along. All we have to do now is stop doubting what we carry. You've been equipped with divine intuition. You've been trained in pain. You've been shaped in silence. And now you are being activated. You're stepping into a timeline where favor overtakes you, but not by luck, by alignment. And here's the sacred key. Stop waiting to be ready. Stop talking yourself out of it. Stop sharing your visions with those who haven't earned the right to hear them. Take action with the wisdom you've received. Move with the authority of someone already chosen. Because when you walk in faith, momentum builds. When you move in alignment, miracles follow. The energy around your breakthrough is sensitive. Don't delay. Don't keep over-explaining. Don't shrink. The time to move is now. You have been marked. There's a sacred pressure building in the unseen. You felt it in your body, in your dreams, in your thoughts that seem to stretch beyond time itself. It's like your soul has been rehearsing a moment that hasn't arrived yet. A knowing without explanation. A fire without a match. A voice that keeps whispering, "Prepare. You're next." Because those who are marked, they don't walk into blessings. They become the blessing. You weren't created to blend in. You were designed to disrupt. And your presence alone carries the fragrance of heaven. That's why some people couldn't stand to be near you. They could smell the favor on you before it even materialized. That's why your life has never made sense in the world system. Because your story was never meant to follow logic. It was meant to be prophetic. And now, chosen one, you're entering a realm of instant spiritual reward, but it comes with sacred responsibility. This is not the season to doubt your inner voice. You can't afford to hesitate. You can't afford to keep trying to convince others of what you know deep down. This is the season of execution, not explanation. Because every time you share sacred things with unready ears, you delay your own ascension. When God marks someone, He often silences their circle. That silence you've experienced lately? That sudden withdrawal of people? That isolation? It's not punishment. It's preparation. Because where you're going, not everyone can follow. Some people can't breathe in the altitude God is lifting you into. Some hearts simply won't beat at the rhythm of your purpose. You're not lonely. You've been consecrated. And from this place of consecration, clarity comes. The fog starts lifting. The inner battles start calming. And suddenly, you realize, you were never waiting on a door to open. You were waiting on yourself to walk boldly into the room you were always meant to command. You were born to shift atmospheres. When you walk into a place, the spiritual temperature changes. Even when you're silent, your spirit speaks. You've made demons nervous without even realizing it. That's why certain environments rejected you. That's why certain people tried to mock you, mimic you, or discredit you. Because the marked ones expose the counterfeit without even trying. Your humility made you question your strength. Your compassion made you overextend. But now, you're being called to walk in discernment. To stop throwing your pearls before swine. To stop planting in soil that's not fertile. You have too much power, too much purpose, and too much promise to waste it on what isn't part of your assignment. You're stepping into days where answers find you before you even speak them. Divine timing will unfold like clockwork, and opportunities will arrive that were custom designed for your hands only. But to receive them, you must embody what's already yours. God didn't mark you just so you could be noticed. He marked you so that you'd know, even in a room full of people, exactly who you are. There's no more pretending. No more downplaying. No more waiting for someone else to validate what God has already confirmed. The shift that's happening now is internal before it becomes external. It's spiritual before it becomes physical. But when it lands, it will be undeniable. The anointing on your life will become visible, and those who overlooked you will be confused at your favor. not because it makes sense, but because it's supernatural. You'll become the living, breathing evidence that when God says yes, no one can block it. Not time, not distance, not enemies, not even your past. Everything is being reordered. Divine connections are coming. Unexpected provision. Sacred alignment. Your name is being whispered in rooms you've never entered. Why? Because you've been marked for this exact moment. Your path may have been hard, but that was the proof. Diamonds don't come from comfort, they come from pressure. And the pressure you've survived has unlocked a brilliance that can't be bought, copied, or manufactured. It's divinely earned. Chosen one, you are entering the beginning of your era, and you must treat this moment like holy ground. Every decision must reflect the greatness within you. Every step must mirror your purpose. Every word, every action, must honor the anointing you carry. You didn't come this far to shrink. You didn't survive that storm to sit still. You were marked, and now it's time to move. The days of dimming your light are over, because you were never meant to fit in, you were meant to lead, and not in the traditional way that the world defines leadership. You lead by vibration, by presence, by obedience. The mark on your soul makes you a lighthouse in a world where most are lost at sea. You've become the anchor for those whose spirits are drifting, the signal that something greater is not only possible, it's real. And while others chase the spotlight, you carry the fire. Understand this. Not everyone will understand why you suddenly stop speaking, stop sharing, or stop explaining. But you're not being rude, you're being wise. The energy of this season is too sacred to waste on conversations not rooted in destiny. You no longer owe access to anyone who treats your presence as casual. You're walking into divine acceleration. Things that took years will now take months. Doors that were stuck will now burst open. The same you they overlooked will now become the you they can't ignore. But don't let that make you arrogant. Let it make you aware. You were chosen not to be seen, but to serve. Serve with your gifts. Serve with your healing. Serve with your authenticity. And serve in silence when necessary, because true power doesn't always need to announce itself. It simply arrives. And that's exactly what you're about to do. Arrive. To that version of yourself you've seen in dreams. The confident, grounded, radiant you. The version of you that walks with unwavering purpose and peace. The you that has released every false identity, every past label, every trauma-cloaked reaction. The you that's no longer trying to prove anything, because you are the proof. Let this message be confirmation. God already settled it. You don't have to chase what's already been assigned. You don't need to beg for what's already yours. You don't need to defend the calling that was divinely branded onto your soul before you even had language to describe it. You just need to believe. Because the mark on your life is your eternal reminder. You were not sent here to merely exist. You were sent here to transform reality, for yourself and for others. And no, it's not always easy being the vessel. It's not always light being the mirror. But when you remember who sent you, the weight turns into wings. You will fly now, above the doubts, above the distractions, above the delays. Because you've learned how to listen, how to obey, how to let go without losing yourself. And now heaven is responding. Energetically, spiritually, even physically. You will feel the evidence. In your body, in your spirit, in your bank account, in your relationships, in the very atmosphere around you. You will know that God did not forget you. He was fashioning you. And now, every closed door will make sense. Every redirection will feel like a gift. Every no will be seen as protection. Because where he's taking you, only truth can survive. Only love. Only integrity. Only what's real. This is your moment. Don't play it small. Don't walk in fear. Don't hide behind false humility. You've paid the price. You've passed the tests. And now, you're stepping into a divine unfolding so powerful, it will feel like time is bending in your favor. Expect acceleration. Expect recognition. Expect alignment. But most of all, expect yourself to rise. Because God didn't mark you by accident. He marked you on purpose, for purpose, and with purpose. And now that you finally remember who you are, it's time to walk boldly into everything you were born to carry. You are the miracle in motion. You are the answer someone is praying for. You are the storm breaker, the system shifter, the cycle ender. And you will not be denied. Chosen one. This is not just your season, it is your appointment. And heaven is waiting for your next move. So move in faith. Move in fire. Move like you know you were marked, because you were.